Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Sandeep Walia, Head of the Department, University Institute of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Chandigarh University. Today we are going to discuss about the module Tourism Products, Nature Based, under the paper Tourism Products of India. Dear students, after the completion of this module, the students will be able to know what are nature-based tourism products. They will also come to learn about what are the categories of nature-based tourism. The students will also be aware about the formulation of nature-based tourism products. The students will also be aware about nature-based tourism and India. Tourism is considered as one of the biggest industries of the world. Nature and natural attractions are considered as one of the integral components of tourism. Outdoor activities and hiking all involve engaging with nature-based tourism products. Biking, fishing, photo safaris are all nature-based tourism products. It provides an added income to the rural areas. The new trends are ecotourism and sustainability for nature-based tourism products, where the main emphasis is laid on the protect these places and harness of the benefits of such tourism activities to the local people of the region. The present module shall discuss the concept of nature-based tourism, understanding of nature-based tourism, various categories of nature-based tourism, development and sustainability issue of nature-based tourism in the first part, and later in the second part the module will also discuss the nature-based tourism products of India. Let us first discuss that who is a nature-based visitor or a tourist. A nature-based visitor or a tourist can be both a domestic and an international visitor or tourist who is an active participant in the following activities, which are as mentioned here: visited wildlife parks, zoos, etc., visited botanical gardens of any other public green area, wilderness visit, bushwalking, rainforest walk, safaris, whale dolphin watching, biosphere or national park reserved forest visit, any adventure sport involving natural area, etc. Let us now understand nature-based tourism. The experience involves and revolves around the area's natural products and will include either or all these animals, plants and human cultural variety. Certain principles that have to be included and made a part of plan are geographic and historical education, resource use with sustainability, zero environmental degradation, adding to the region's sustainable development, respectful of local societal and cultural norms, and merging it with health, business and tourism. The importance of nature-based tourism for a destination can be multiple. Nature has a high stake in attracting tourists to a place. Tourism is not a single industry but is a multidimensional. Often the studies have focuses considering nature tourism with tourism activities done in nature areas, where the players are visitors and their experiences in a nature-based environment or of nature itself. Often nature-based tourism is confused with ecotourism or green tourism, which is incorrect. Ecotourism is a higher version where travel is to a fragile, protected and virgin areas where tourists are engaged in a way that they have minimal effect on natural, social and cultural fabric of the place. Thus, nature-based tourism is a universal set where ecotourism is a subset. Ecotourism also takes note of the altitude of the visitor's knowledge and defines how ecotourism should proceed. Nature-based tourism is free from all these shackles. Nature is an inseparable part of elements of tourism and is one of the expectations of the visitor of any destination. Who is a nature-based tourist and who is not an easy task to define, as a tourist may be attracted because of nature at a place, but whether he or she will practice and indulge in nature-based activities is questionable. Because of improper definitions, even getting the size of the segment and collecting statistics doing research is a challenge faced by many. One way such tourists can be recognized are the activities that the tourists undertake and the amount of involvement they do with the nature and the overnight stay aspect that can solve the definitional issue. But in such a scenario, often outdoor recreationalists also comes in the segment of nature-based tourists. Often, the service providers for nature-based tourism are not properly segregated or classified. Often in economic terms, also it is solely the activity that is counted rather than the accommodation, transportation and food services that they take. So we get a part of their economic effect. Let us now discuss about the investigation of nature-based tourism. More researchers and scientists are of the view that nature-based tourism is leisure activities inside a natural area. This brings in two components at play. First, one being the visitor who has left his home and is an unusual surrounding. Second is the experience, which can be either of these three. Dependent on the nature, maybe is enhanced by nature and experiences where nature has a subsidiary importance. This demarcation is from the consumer's viewpoint. Some scientists talk about the doctrine of cultural designation, where the first classification is technical and is related to mobility of visitors to a certain destinations which is not a part of their usual habitat. It may be conceptual, where the people's intention are such that their mobility is towards the natural environment with an intention to be active participant in nature-based things. So, from the motivational part of tourism, the behavior of the tourist will show two elements and hence two roles. First role will be a subsidiary role, where a tourist will not involved with nature, but it serves as an extrinsic element to create expectations. In the second viewpoint, nature becomes a formative factor for tourist motivation. Tourist is out for nature-based activities. Let us now discuss about categories of nature-based tourism or the tourists. Nature-based tourism can be classified into many categories depending on the place, kind of activity, motivation or reason, and the type, be it sustainable, organized or commercial. It provides ease in quantifying tourism and tourists on nature-based basis and helps to produce concrete statistical results. Tourist classification can also produce nature-based tourism segmentation. Few studies recognize 6 kinds of nature-based tourists. The first one is the committed to the nature. These are few in numbers who do not only admire nature but take steps to conserve it. They show action. The second category is interested nature tourists. Such tourists show a concern and an interest in nature tourism but lack a deep commitment towards the nature-based tourism. The third one is the casual nature tourist. These are the tourists who are combining a vacation with a visit to the nature-based areas. Their primary motive is to visit their preferred destination, but they also plans and visit the nature-based tourism destination of the nearby to their selected destinations. Then the next one is the nature tourists. Such tourists have certain very fixed culture linking and linking towards any tourist destination. Then the next category is the sport or adventure tourists. Such type of tourists is interested in sports or involving in adventure related sports of tourism activities in natural areas. Then there are hunting and fishing tourists. For such type of tourist, nature is just a ground for their activity and entertainment. Their primary motive is to enjoy hunting and fishing areas, but with the admiration of natural resource of the area visited. Then the next one is the demands for nature-based tourism. Nature-based tourism, in its broadest of meanings, is a part of ever-growing tourism industry. The quest of tourists for something new and not experienced before is what is giving rise to such a phenomenon. The understanding of the human role in global degradation and destruction is much clearer than before, thanks to all the researches that have been done and studies undertaken. The consumers too have awakened, and so does tourists, and have started asking for sustainable substitutes and sustainable products. Alternative tourism, which is a shift from mass tourism or an escape from mass tourism, is a result of this new consumer awakening in the tourism industry. The tourists will now like small scale tourism and will move in smaller groups. The tourist will avoid more crowded and busier tourist centers. The tourists tend to skip mass organized events and trips. They would seek more original, authentic and more localized experiences and interactions. Nature-based tourism in many ways provide a good option to alternative tourism seekers. Such experiences are more readily available in countryside and rural environment and have less of tourism development. Yet, sacrificing the amenities and services for tourism is not easy. Thus, nature-based tourism is a global industry with economic and social importance, but both at local and global regions. Thus, nature-based tourism talks about the tourist experience and activities in nature while visiting the natural areas. Let us discuss about the cultural aspect. Nature-based tourism does not involve shunning out of people. It includes culture as an inseparable part of culture. It respects people's viewpoint and the interactions with them. Cultural tourism actually can exist with natural tourism and can even support or complement it. Cultures are not only objects but also way of life. Culture is both traditional and creative, and it has both ordinary and common meaning and unique individual meanings. Natural tourism is interested with ordinary common meaning, that is, way of life. This has given way to broadcast classification, nature-based attractions and cultural attractions. These both can be written under one head, which is recreational tourism. There is interdependence between cultural and natural tourism. Example can be ice fishing safaris. They are done in nature, have unique natural environment, but has cultural element in it. The three elements are important for tourist attraction: the environment to observe, activities to participate, and experience to remember. If environment here is nature, then activities and experiences can be cultural too, proving the complementing relationship between the two. Rather, a cultural element enhances the nature-based tourism experience. Let us now discuss about the development of nature-based product. Products can be services too, and especially this is true in the case of tourism. There has to be an element of differentiation to position a product. Be it service product in the market, it is not about high quality of a product, but one need a good story behind the product too. This story should generate tourist involvement, deep connection, and should move the tourists. The 6 A's of products have to be remembered. The first one is attractions, the scenic beauty and the natural landscapes of the destination. The second one is accessibility, that means transport to and inside to the destination. The third one is the activities, tourists is out to do it at the destination visited. Then the fourth one is the amenities. These are services including accommodation, food, etc. Then the next one is available packages. That means the bundling of various services all together to make a single product. Then the next one is ancillary services. That means the routine services not related to the tourism. These have to be built and a story has to be created behind it. It should be services and much beyond it. Creating stories and enhancing the appeal of the product is a tough balance. Kotler's model presents the 5 stages and how higher customer value can be attained. First is the core benefit, is the service which the customer is buying, for example, snowmobile safari. The second stage is the core benefits transform into basic product, for example, renting of snowmobile and the guide services. Then there is third is the expected product. The features and characteristics that a tourist expects from a product are a modern snowmobile, polite guide and a fun ride. The fourth is the augmented product. It should create a wow effect and exceed the expectations of the customer. It tells the story behind the product and additional values. The fifth step is the potential product, all the augmentations and transformations a product may face in the coming times. Novel ways for product distinguishment and customer satisfaction are searched. Product development is an ongoing phenomenon and cannot be done in isolation. Market research and marketing are inseparable part of product development. Value chain has to be kept in mind, which is creation of more customer value. Stephen Smith presents a model which relates more closely to the nature-based tourism. The first element in this is the physical plant. This is crux of tourism product and is in this case may be a natural site, facilities, weather, etc. It is physical which tourists want to witness. The second element is service. The physical part needs some sort of service to establish a link with the tourist. Hospitality is the third element. It is beyond great service, quality, but something extra. Hospitality may be defined as the way the task is being accomplished. Hospitality is comprehensive and less measurable. Freedom of choice is the fourth element, which refers to the choices or the options that customers needs to take for making it satisfactory. Therefore, can be surprises also. Then the next one is the involvement. Here means complete engagement of the customer. These combinations of 5 elements in nature-based tourism product can yield high quality and satisfying product. Product development is not easy. The product should meet the needs of the target market, deals with requests and expectations of the target market and add customer value. Let us discuss about the sustainability issues. Nature-based tourism product development is incomplete without the issue of sustainability and the stakeholders' participation. Stakeholders are any cohorts or a person who has a power to affect or get affected by attainment of organizational objective. Stakeholder and sustainability are related in the sense that sustainability is the responsible attitude towards stakeholders, the environment and the economy. Responsibilities can be of variety like legal, ethical and economic. There can be multiple stakeholders where emphasis has to be on communication, interaction, win-win solution finding processes, equity and equitable representation of stakeholders. Sustainability may look like wastage of time, but communicating with stakeholders for day-to-day operations and developments to create a strong base results in environmental preservation and avoidance of negative attitude from different quarters. Overall, it creates benefits. Let us discuss about the nature tourism products in India. Nature and wildlife makes India stands at the 10th position as a mega biodiversity country in the globe because of large variety of flora and fauna that exist. Its number is 4th in Asia. The Indian soil, land, climate conditions, rainfall, temperatures and different seasons support the growth of natural areas. Southwest monsoons and also retreating monsoon elongate the rainy season. Approximately 22% of India's total area is covered by the evergreen forest, which result in 2% of the global forest cover. India has a variety in terms of vegetation and can be demarcated as tropical rainforest, tropical deciduous forest, tropical thorn forest and shrubs, mountain forest, mangrove forests and tropical rainforest. There are commercial and non-commercial trees growing in these regions. This abundance of food and cover help wildlife to grow like elephants, lemurs, one-horned rhinoceros, deers, wild boars, etc. The government is also ensuring steps to conserve this. There are 14 defined biosphere reserves in the country. Botanical gardens are founded since the year 1992. There are various projects like Project Tiger, Project Rhino, etc. being run time to time. There are well-defined national parks, 89 in number, wildlife sanctuaries, 49 in number, and many zoological gardens and wildlife conservation centers set up all over the India. The Indian natural tourism products have a variety of natural resources such as areas, climates, landscape, and natural environment. These attract tourism to India. India's natural tourism products are in a variety and can be classified as: the first one is the countryside, the available tourism resources and infrastructural facilities available within the boundaries of the country. Then the second one is climate, temperature, sunny days, snowfall and rains. Then the third one is the natural beauty, which means mountains, hills, deserts, gorges, backwaters, terrains, etc. Then there is water, that means lakes, rivers, ponds, springs, waterfalls, sea and oceans. The next one is the flora and fauna, wildlife of the country, beaches, rocky, sand, white sand, etc. Then there are islands like Lakshadweep, Andaman, Nicobar, etc. Spas facilities and specialties available in the country. Scenic attractions means the natural landscapes, pleasing weather and natural tourism resources available in the country. Natural resources hold importance for developing tourism in the country. Ecotourism trails have been introduced to conserve resources. Lakes, rivers, sanctuaries and adventure sports points have been demarcated for touristic activities. Attached to this is the 5,000-old histories twinned with the products to provide a boost to the tourism. Indian weather variety adds to overall holiday experience. The population from the extreme climate areas of the globe moves from one country to another. Having winter warmth, winter sunshine is also nature's benevolence. India has many upland cool areas which have been developed by the Britishers as hill stations. The mountains, especially the mighty Himalayas, Vindhyas, Satpuras and many more etc. were the first priority destinations of the Britishers to enjoy their free time and spend the same for their leisure and pleasure activities. Canyons, coral reefs, cliffs, peaks, all are attractions. Water forms like canyons, geysers, lakes, waterfalls and backwaters of Kerala tourist and provide recreational facilities. The forest of northeastern states along with their wildlife attracts all. Trekking, rock climbing, windsurfing, scuba diving, mountaineering, canoeing and kayaking are sports that needs nature, and India has abundance of places for its practice. Kerala, with its scenery, greenery, offers Ayurvedic resorts and spas. Rishikesh, Haridwar, etc. have become hub for spiritual and holistic retreats combining nature and wellness. Islands are full of flora and fauna. Thus, islands are an ideal gateway for adventure, nature, and cultural lovers. The topography of islands is all encompassing and provides exotic flora and fauna as an add on. Dear students, let us now summarize what we have discussed. Nature-based tourism has been understudy for a long time, and now the researchers are further focusing on the subject. It was assumed earlier that all activities take place in natural landscape from a part of nature-based tourism. It was experience and the visitor, the two components that define nature tourism. This kind of tourism is seeing a massive growth, but in nature too social, cultural and economic parameters do have their share of play. These perspectives cannot be ignored, or else it will be partial view of the whole phenomenon. The role of culture and its merging in nature-based tourism enhances the overall experience and provides a value chain to the tourism experience. The product in itself of nature tourism is not a single wholesome entity rather than a multidimensionalism attached to it. There are multiple correlated products that form an experience. Thus, each element of the product has to be kept in mind while creating an offer for the nature-based tourists. And with these words, I sum up this module. Thank you.